Judging by Mark Zuckerberg's wandering eyes at the inauguration, it seems Lauren Sánchez managed to distract him for a moment, and probably made Priscilla Chan roll her eyes. The viral moment just got juicier. Less than 24 hours after, the Meta CEO has been busted liking one of her sultry Instagram snaps. The photo, taken at the Starlight Ball where Sánchez dazzled in a peach Dolce & Gabbana gown, sent the internet into a frenzy, with fans roasting Zuck for his not-so-subtle double tap. It does raise a question: is Mark really the ultimate wife guy he often claims to be? Let's dive into the story of their marriage to find out. Zuckerberg met Chan back at Harvard in 2003. Their story began in a very un-Hollywood way, standing in line for the bathroom at a frat party. Yep, that's right. Chan noticed Zuckerberg's quirky sense of humor, which apparently involved wearing beer glasses with nerdy computer jokes. It's like college humor, but with a computer science twist, Chan once shared.
I met Mark 4 weeks into college.
So you were going to leave even though you had met him?
He was just this, yeah.
Was it love at first sight?
But things didn't start off perfectly. On their first date, Zuckerberg said something that made Chan, a self-proclaimed type A first child, cringe. He told me he'd rather go on a date with me than finish his take-home midterm, she revealed. Talk about priorities, right? Oh, and the date almost didn't even happen, because Zuckerberg dropped another gem. I'm getting kicked out in 3 days, so we need to go out quickly. Smooth, Mark.
He just had a totally different mentality in terms of being able to do things and take risks than I did, and I thought he was fascinating.
Fast forward a few years, and these two have been married since 2012 with 3 kids and a joint philanthropy organization under their belt. But their marriage has always been full of contrasts. Take Zuckerberg's romantic gestures, for example.
We're still so fortunate. Like the touchstone of our family and our kids, and just knowing that we're okay.
Recently, he's gone all out to spoil Chan. He gave her a 7-foot statue of herself, a custom Porsche minivan, and even recorded an anniversary song with T-Pain. Yes, that T-Pain. And because that wasn't enough, he threw her a full-on disco-themed party, because as he put it, Disco Queen wanted a party. Now compare that to their wedding day. For a billionaire couple, you'd expect some extravagant affair, right? Wrong. Their wedding was a simple backyard celebration. Chan's engagement ring was reportedly worth $25,000. Not exactly pocket change, but peanuts compared to Zuckerberg's fortune. The food was catered by local restaurants, and Green Day's Billie Joe Armstrong performed for free. Oh, and Zuckerberg didn't show up in his signature hoodie, but the overall vibe was still super casual. That's billionaires for you. Sometimes they love to keep us guessing.
Are you buying things? Are you buying things that you would
No, I have a little 1-bedroom apartment with a mattress on the floor. That's where I live.
But their wedding wasn't without its drama. The ceremony almost didn't happen on time, thanks to Zuckerberg's questionable planning skills. The wedding took place the day after Facebook's initial public offering, IPO. That's when Facebook started selling its stocks to the public, a massive milestone for any company. When Zuckerberg realized the IPO date clashed with the wedding, he tried to reschedule. Spoiler alert, his CFO said no. Honestly, the stress levels must have been through the roof.
When we first launched, we were hoping for, maybe 400, 500 people. Harvard didn't have a Facebook, so that's the gap that we were trying to fill. And now we're at 100,000 people.
Despite these hiccups, Zuckerberg has tried to show up for Chan in important moments. When their first daughter, Max, was born, Zuckerberg took 2 months of paternity leave, a big deal for a tech mogul. He even wrote a heartfelt Facebook post about it, saying, "Priscilla and I are starting to get ready for our daughter's arrival." But here's where it gets a little murky. For their second and third children, there were no announcements of paternity leave. Was that initial gesture just for show? Or did Chan feel more confident handling things on her own by then? Guess we'll never know. Speaking of Max's birth, there's a wild story from the delivery room. As Chan was in active labor, Zuckerberg handed her a draft of the letter announcing their philanthropy initiative and asked, "Does this make sense? Should I move this paragraph up?" Imagine being in the middle of giving birth and your husband wants you to edit a document. Chan's response? "Honey, we're done. The baby is here. The letter is complete." Talk about patience.
Max is wonderful. Mark and I are just over the top proud of everything she does.
And then there's their quirky, relationship agreement, which they made before tying the knot. It wasn't your typical prenup. Instead, Zuckerberg promised to take Chan on at least one date per week and spend 100 minutes of uninterrupted time with her each week outside of their apartment or office. It's giving Major Sheldon Cooper vibes, isn't it?
How often is date night and what is date night?
We're pretty good about this.
Every week.
We do it every week.
Although there's no confirmation they signed a formal prenup, it's safe to assume they had some kind of arrangement in place. After all, Zuckerberg was worth $17 billion as when they got married, and California is a community property state. That means any money earned during the marriage would be split if they ever divorced. Makes sense why they'd be careful with their timing. Their wedding happened just one day after Facebook's IPO, after all. Despite their quirks, the couple's bond seems solid. But Chan hasn't always been by Zuckerberg's side during major events. Take the 2018 congressional hearings about the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where Zuckerberg faced intense scrutiny over data misuse. Chan was notably absent, likely busy with their kids and philanthropy work. Still, it's hard not to notice the gaps during moments like these.
You don't love the spotlight.
I don't love the spotlight.
And then, there's Hollywood's take on their relationship. In the movie The Social Network, Zuckerberg's love story with Chan is completely erased. Instead, the film portrays him as a jilted guy who creates Facebook out of revenge after being dumped. Zuckerberg has called the movie hurtful and inaccurate, especially since he was already dating Chan when he launched Facebook. Imagine watching that movie with your spouse, knowing millions of people think it's the real story. Awkward.
And I mean, the reality for people who know me is I've actually been dating the same girl since before I started Facebook, so obviously that's not a part of it.
So what's going on with Zuckerberg's recent image makeover? From swapping hoodies for suits to showing off more affection in public and stepping up his stage presence, it's clear he's putting in some effort. But here's the real question. Are these changes coming from the heart, or is this just part of a bigger PR play? Isabel Morley, a couples therapist, says there are usually two reasons for such changes. Either the marriage is on the rocks, and the grand gestures are a last-ditch effort to save it, or the husband has gone to therapy and realized he needs to step up. With public figures, there's always the possibility it's a calculated move to boost their image.
Zuckathon.
No, what is
You haven't heard that?
No.
It's Zuck's Renaissance.
Huh. What is this?
That said, Mark and Priscilla's relationship does seem to have a solid foundation. They appear to be on the same page about what matters most to them. As Priscilla once shared, we try to stick pretty close to what our goals are, and what we believe, and what we enjoy doing in life. Just simple things. But what do you think? Are these two as strong as they seem, or is there more to the story? Let me know your take.